And now when an unforeseen obstacle comes your way, you know why you're fighting for this.
Work out your problems on paper, not just conversation and thinking.
You remember that there were so many people without a job to go to who will remember this moment for the rest of your life. Now, here where things are slowly starting to come back. Not saying it's going to happen overnight, but there seems to be a little of a light. At the end of the tunnel, there seems to be an opportunity now. Now, what are we going to do? Are we going to take it for granted? Are we going to be more responsible? Are we going to be more caring? Are we going to realize that life is beautiful? And now that you've had this chance with all of the circumstances, that we have all faced lives where lost jobs were lost. People's mindsets are not in the right place. You feel that your freedom has been taken from you. You feel that this chance right now that you have is all you have left, and you want to make the most of you so. What do we do now as a people? Doesn't matter what you believe in, but what do we do now as a people? We're not starting over. We're going to start up.
If you're at fault, or if they're at fault, and for both of you to be able to contemplate that you might be at fault and so might the other person, and that it's in your best interest to sort out exactly who's made the error and where, and maybe it's both of you and maybe at different levels of analysis. I think the same might be said about your reaction to your conscience. It's not uncommon for me to talk to my wife, my kids, my parents, my friends for that matter, about something I might be feeling. Maybe I'm guilty about something, I'm self-conscious about something, I'm angry about something, I feel impelled by my conscience to do something as a consequence, to change something. It's very helpful to discuss such things with other people, to say, look, here's...
And you will push through that boredom because it's something that you know on balance you love anyway, and you're fighting for something that matters to you. When you get that magical cocktail, as Friedrich Nietzsche said, a man with a strong enough why can endure any how. So you need that strong why to keep you focused, to ignore all the other obstacles and opportunities, to really go after that thing and to have tested. You've tried a lot of things. You did not prematurely optimize. So I know that this one is good for me. I know that I'm not, because a lot of people, they end up they like the beginning. And so in the beginning, I know why I'm here. I'm ready to fight. This is good. And then as time wears on, laziness kicks in. They like distraction. Maybe they have ADHD. They want the next dopamine hit. They pick up their phone and suddenly they think it's, oh, well, this, Tom said to only do the one that gives me more energy. This doesn't give me enough energy. I'm going to go try something else.
What I think I did wrong, and here's how I'm punishing myself, but I'm not sure that I'm not doing it in an exaggerated way. And you gather other people's opinions and listen to them carefully, and friends are extraordinarily useful in that regard. And that can help you calibrate it. So I think most of what we do to decide if our inner voice is healthy is discuss it with other people. And I believe, as I pointed out in my last book, explicitly, that tremendous amount of our sanity is maintained as a consequence of social interaction. So you can't find your authentic self merely as a consequence of a journey within, I would say. You're not, there's just not enough of you. You have to be informed by the broader social world. What is the best way to avoid falling back into nihilistic behaviors and thinking? Well,
I would say once you've done the early exploration, of 15, 20 different things and found some that give you more energy than they take, then if more than 3 times you find yourself starting only to stop and want to start over again, that is, you're lacking grit. Angela Duckworth has a book called Grit where she addresses this, but basically you have to at some point draw a line in the sand and say, look, I know that in the early phases of this I loved it. Now I just need to push through the boring stuff by knowing why I'm doing this and having a desire to progress in my life, which is incredibly important. And I'm going to do that by gaining mastery in the skills that I would need to master in order to be good at this thing. And then you commit and you go. Right? That's how that's done. Next, I struggle with the consistency aspect of discipline. What advice do you have for someone like me?
You got to rise above it. You got to realize that hell doesn't have a place in your life. But during the course of any challenge that you are facing right now in your life, Hell will show up, but hell doesn't have to break you. Hell doesn't have to put you in a position where you don't feel you have nothing else left to give of yourself. You've got to recognize the possibilities within you. Nothing is going to be easy. Nothing is going to be handed to you. You've got to go through it. You've got to hurt so you can grow. You've got to feel it, so if hell does show up, if the devil himself knocks on your door, don't answer it. Don't give it the satisfaction, make a difference, move forward, do something unique in your life, whatever challenges you are facing. Let them come.
Put the problem on paper. You'll find if you're around us quite a bit, the evening seminar, these 2 days, any other context you might have with us, we're always talking about paper, journals, projects, books, learning to think on paper. And problem solving is the same thing. To solve a problem, simple. First, divide a piece of paper in half. On this side of the paper, state the problem. Just write it out. Now, you don't have to live on it or live in it. You don't have to dwell on it. You don't have to stay on it, but you do have to state it. To make an intelligent decision, you need the accurate facts. You got to know what the problem is. So that's the first step. Just write it out. In some very simple language, here is the problem. I've got this and this and this. Okay? Just make a statement of the problem.
I was willing to completely die to any form of me that I had been so that I can birth the woman that I was becoming. The reason why a lot of people won't become who they want is because they're too attached to who they've been. And you hear it all the time when people say, I've always been this way. Okay, well, if that's working for you, keep doing that. I knew it wasn't working for me any longer. I had hit my version of rock bottom. So I was willing to let go of everything and everybody. See, another reason why people won't get there is because the doorway is for you to fit through. You're trying to carry everybody else through because you're trying to be Rescue 911. And you got to rescue you first. I am much more valuable to my family and to my community because I was willing to let them go.
You feel like worrying and you're so concerned about other things. That doesn't necessarily concern you. Ask yourself, is it making you better? Is it taking you higher? Are you going further? Or are you just being complacent? Complacent and complaining and worrying and doing things that are not better for you, or you're going to realize that maybe just going up that mountain does take a little bit more work than just having something handed to you. You're going to be that person that realizes that if and when you get to the top of the mountain, and don't just stop there, you've got to figure out another way to go even higher.
Now on this side, work out the answers, okay? On paper, in your thinking process. Now to solve a problem, let me give you 3 questions to ask to solve any problem. 3 questions to ask to solve any problem. Now this is a process to go through. And you want to go through a process because here's what you want. Not just the solution to a problem. You want to become a problem solver. If you solve a problem, that's temporary. If you become a problem solver, that's permanent. It's like the old line of what's better, to have a fish or to learn how to fish. But it's much better to learn how to fish than it is to just be handed a fish. The same is true in sales. We teach in sales. Making a sale is temporary. Becoming a salesperson is permanent.
So many people out there in this world right now will try to tell you not to be something that you feel in your heart that you want to be. So many people out there right now are miserable, and they'll try their best to take you with them. Do not let misery control the life that you have. Do not let anyone tell you how to live it. Do not let anyone validate your purpose. Do not let anyone validate your destiny. Someone told you a long time ago that you wasn't worthy. Someone looked you in the eye and said you wasn't going to make it. I say to you right now that you will make it. I say to you right now that you must make it. I say to you right now that you must tell excuses, fear, and doubt that it has no place in your place of business, for this is your life that you are fighting for.
Go through the door myself, teach myself, learn myself, condition myself, and then come back and get them. I'm much more valuable to them now. But I had to go through a window time of 10 years of judgment. You leaving us, hanging out with white people all the time. You going to these crazy countries. We don't know what I had to be willing to allow my conviction to make me inconvenienced. See, we want to grow, but we want to stay liked by everybody. I was willing to be my own rescue at the risk of your approval. But most of us aren't like that. Facebook is an example. We want to be liked. Well, I woke up and I like myself today, so your like is extra. My job is to like me first. I was willing to say every day, Lisa, you like you? Lisa, are you proud of you? Lisa, are you playing full out? Every day before I checked in with anybody else. I was willing to inconvenience my entire life